What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Big Men on Campus college football preview video. We're continuing to take a look at Week 7 in college football already to Week 7. Joe Duffy back with us live. Joe Duffy's been with us all 6 weeks so far. We welcome him back for 2 more games this week. First, Joe's taking a look at Clemson hosting Florida State. Joe, you've been involved in a couple Clemson games this year, and I'm interested in hearing where we're going in this one. Clemson currently a 26.5-point favorite. Total is 61 at SBRodds.com. You look at Clemson, Joe, kind of pedestrian. I mean, I know they're 5-0 or 4-0, I'm sorry, but again, I don't know that anyone's been overly impressed. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is having kind of a pedestrian season. Etienne's looked good, but he's kind of tailed off. And since that kind of near loss to UNC, we've kind of forgotten about Clemson. They were off last week, and we kind of forget that they're existing right now due to some of the other teams that are doing their thing. But, Joe, they always seem to have that close game every year where, whether it's NC State or UNC or whoever, they always have it. It's kind of a bogey game, and they find a way to win. That's just how good Clemson is. They can play so poor and still find ways to win. But tonight or this week, they come back. They have a week kind of to prepare here, and they welcome in a Florida State team that, I got to admit, there's some things about them I like. Obviously, their passing game has been a strength, whether it's Alex Hornibrook or James Blackman. They've been able to move the football. The completion percentage is terrific, 15th in the country, 8.3 yards an attempt, and they've only had 2 interceptions compared to 14 touchdowns. They're taking care of the ball, and Kendall Browse has helped a lot with that as the new passing game coordinator. Here's the problem, though. You're facing a Clemson pass defense. It's one of the best in the college football. They shut down Kellen Mond. They shut down Tommy DeVito. They shut down Sam Howell. This has been a group that has been able to shut everyone down they've played. And I also look at the fact that, Joe, you look at currently on the season, these are some alarming numbers. James Blackman, the quarterback at Florida State, has been pressured on 42% of his dropbacks, which is 7th most nationally among P5 quarterbacks. And you look at Alex Hornibrook, he's been pressured almost 41.5% of the time. That's 8th nationally. This offensive line has been poor. They got to travel. But this is a big line. What do you like here?
Yeah, Jeff, you are right that despite having a bad offensive line, Florida State has had success. In fact, they have 7 wide receivers who have at least 10 catches on the year and at least 100 yards on the season, so they're very deep. But you alluded to it. Clemson's got a great pass rush. They rank 9th nationally, 3.80 sacks per game, like Florida State, 125th nationally, where they're in allowing sacks. So I do think there's going to be a big mismatch on the defensive side of the ball. Well, when Clemson's on defense, their defensive line should dominate Florida State's. And I don't think that Florida State's going to be able to maintain with the 2 quarterbacks the very efficient offense that they've had this year. And remember, entering the year, everybody said that Clemson had the best offense in the country, but there were some question marks on defense. Obviously, as you said, their offense has been somewhat pedestrian, but their defense has more than risen to the challenge. The proverbial, they don't rebuild, they just reload. But this is only Florida State's 2nd road game of the year, somewhat of a scheduling anomaly. It's not that rare. Big favorites, though, off of a bye, 91, 43, and 5. Great rushing teams as big favorites, 331, 244, and 243, and 15. Now, both of those, of course, would favor Clemson. Florida State, look, they're finally getting some momentum. They all are off of some impressive double-digit wins after they were atrocious at the beginning of the year. I mean, almost lost to Louisiana Monroe. But, teams laying 26 or more versus an opponent that's off of consecutive double-digit wins, very good play at 19-10. Obviously, it's very rare that a team could be playing that well in their last 2 games and yet are still getting so many points. But the odds makers say there is a reason why they are such a big underdog. But I do think that maybe this is a chance for Clemson to finally establish themselves as one of the best teams in the country. Look, they run the table. Clearly, they're in the Final Four. So there's maybe not that sense of urgency, but really think the difference here is going to be Florida State, the success they've had with that efficient offense. It's going to come to a halt against this Clemson pass rush. And, I don't know, maybe Florida State's finally gotten in much better shape and they're hydrating much better than they were earlier in the year, but if any team's going to be able to wear them down with the talent, it is Clemson. So, again, college football is the one and only sport where I do consistently lay a big number. I don't like to do it. By nature, I'm an underdog player, but I am going to bet the 25.5 here.
Yeah, you look at Clemson, Joe, which makes them so dangerous in this football game is, first of all, you mentioned the pass rush and how effective it should be against that offensive line. The great thing about Clemson and what makes them so dangerous is they don't necessarily have to get to the quarterback. They have terrific corners, terrific safeties, a pass defense that has been among the best in the country. And I look at this game and I say to myself, how does Clemson not put up 45-plus points in this game? This is a bad defense for Florida State. They've been riddled against bad teams. What's Clemson going to do? And I look back to last year, Joe, 59-10. I don't know if it'll be 59-10, but 48-21, something like that. Somewhere in that range, I could totally see. I got to be honest. I feel like if you like, if you think Clemson can get to, or Florida State can get to 20, let's say, why not just take the over? I mean, total 61. I think you're obviously thinking that Florida State is going to get shut down here, and they may. It could be really hard for them to move the ball. And I think one thing we've learned about Joe, James Blackman, and Alex Hornibrook, I'm not going to venture to say these are two great quarterbacks. I think they've been against decent foes, and they've been able to move the ball. This is going to be a reality check for them. I agree. I'd lay the points as well if I had to do it here. I also kind of like the over, but the concern I have is Florida State just screws you on a total, and this ends up, 44-10 or something. Joe, great stuff. Really enjoyed the breakdown. He always give us very comparable breakdowns to the pick. Not many people can break a game down on camera. Great work. Joe, I know you're doing very well in NFL. You were 32-15 last week on your premiums. What are you doing this week?
Yeah, we did a so-so weekend in the NFL. Great one in college football. Went 7-2 on Saturday. Already have 15 football winners up for this weekend. Going to be working on NFL as soon as I get off of the horn with you, but we'll definitely have some NFL as well. But got my Big Ten total of the year. I've been hitting a bunch of the totals of the year in college football this year. Those totals have been great. So offshoreinsiders.com already with the humongous college football weekend, and NFL will be up pretty shortly.
Joe, if I guess the total, will you give me the play right now?
If I guess the yes, yes.
Okay, let me guess the game. Can I guess the game? Minnesota, Nebraska.
No, it is not that contest.
Fair enough. Listen, one of the reasons I bring Joe Duffy on is because he's a different bettor than I am. He's a high volume guy. I'm not, and he's more of an analytical guy. I'm more not. That's why I bring you here. That's why I bring Joe here. That's why I bring Ian Cameron on as well. Great handicappers that can do a variety of different things. Joe killing it, not only in NFL, but in college as well. Check him out at offshoreinsiders.com. Joe's been doing it longer than I've been alive. Joe, we'll take a look at another video here in just a second. Thanks for coming on.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, sir.